Hello, I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl who looked good.
Hello and welcome to the SC Ballers podcast. I'm your host and coach of the Terrace crew, Matt Ricks. Round 21 was less drama-filled than its crazy predecessor of round 20. It was mainly a case of who did you captain or who did you sell. Some popular players went big: Kiraz, Campbell, Lomax, Cleary, all with huge tons, while some of the fallen guns, Harry Grant and Matty Burton particularly, showed they can still muster some big scores. It was also a case, however, of season-ending injuries, and SuperCoaches will be scrambling this week to replace Jahrome Hughes, Olakau'atu and Connor Tracy with the precious little trades they have left. We're going to be discussing replacements for all of those guys tonight, plus much more. Joining me for this episode, a couple of old baller favourites. First up, it's the reinvigorated coach of Tubes' pods, host of the Sunday Snap, Tubes. How are you, son?
Matthew, excellent. Feeling good after a pretty good weekend. I was a bit down in the dumps after captaining Nico over Cleary, but managed to scrape together a 1381, I think.
Very good.
Which was respectable and just gives me that glimmer of hope for the Baller Run Home Challenge.
What's that got you up in the ranks? I might just search the team there. 1647th.
Yeah,
So
I'm back.
So you're back, top in the top 80%.
Top 75%.
Yeah.
No, it's just so much carnage. I know we'll talk about it tonight. I'm pretty happy with my sort of 19, 20 players, and I've got 6 trades in the bank. I'm thinking of Holden this week and see what carnage comes out over the next 6 weeks of the season.
I thoroughly enjoyed the snap this week. I was commenting in our group chat about the expert analysis that you're bringing to the pod. They're going to be looking for you and Sean Johnson to start hosting a pod together at that rate, Choose, with that level of analysis.
Yeah, there's usually a good-looking one on each show, so I'll let you judge which one I'll cover that with me and SJ.
Oh, very good. All right, also joining us tonight, it's his return to the pod. He's had a few weeks off, but he's on the back of a couple of good scores, working his way back up the ranks. It's coach of CMAX 86ers. CMAC, how are you, mate?
Matty? Yeah, no, a better week last week, which was much needed. It's just been a slide since the heights of Magic Round. Have never really got quite back up there since then.
Doesn't that feel like a lifetime ago?
It is. But no, at 1360, Captain Cleary had a couple of good things go my way, and back in the top 1,000. And look, minimal trades, just trying to hold on for the run home now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a case for that. And we've got the Baller Blueprint tonight where we're going to talk about how you should be approaching trades depending on how many you got left, and also depending whether you're chasing overall rank or chasing head-to-head finals. We're only 1 week out from the head-to-head finals, of course, and draft finals, not forgetting. I know we don't speak too much about draft, but there's a lot of fun going on in draft. Huge game this week, Tubes. I need you to lift massively in your game against the Integrity unit, but more on that later.
I had like 800 and something this week. All my pods went off. So hopefully for your sake, it can happen again.
Yeah, big cash league, that one. So yeah, I need you to lift. Guys, the Run Home Challenge is off in earnest, and we've got our first weekly winner. Jason, coach of the Cream, scored a massive 1,578. He has a baller merch pack coming his way. I'm sporting the hat tonight for those on YouTube. And we got a hoodie as well for Jason. We just need Jace to get in touch. If you're listening, mate, or if you know Jason, please point him our way. Get in touch with us on social media, any of our channels, or social at baller.live on email. So well done to Jason. The leader, though, overall in the Run Home Challenge for the 3K first prize is, great name, Double Tommy D's. Ben, he scored 1486, another good score on the weekend, and he's on 2,933 total. So he's very, very nicely placed, closely followed by the Beagles, coached by Peter. So, yeah, baller merch packs to every weekly winner, and obviously $7,000 worth of prizes. season long update. So long-time leader now, Coach Justin To'o Good. He only had a 12.49, boys, on the weekend, but he is still good enough to be 5th overall, and he's 5 points ahead of second in the Baller League. So 3,000 to the winner of that league as well, and Justin's been ahead for a long time, but the pack is chasing. Watch along this Thursday night. I will be hosting Eels vs Storm. Unconfirmed guests as of yet, but check it out closer to the event. Should be another good night. We're looking to do a couple of, maybe even a live watch along tubes at some point in studio. That should be good fun.
Yeah, I think bit of a baller get together with a
Baller Bash.
Baller Bash 1, the inaugural bash, and it should be good with a nice long watch along. Details TB.
Details to follow, but going to try and get the crew together. Should be plenty of fun. All right, guys. CMAC, I do not know if you saw this during the week. I assume you did. Tommy Sangster dropped some huge news on us on Monday that SuperCoach Finals is coming. Beyond that, not much more detail. But how did that get you excited on a scale of 1 to 10?
I did see that. Oh, it's a 12. It's not 1 to 10. It's a 12. Seriously, though, if you take yourself back to last year's sort of semi-finals, something's always missing. Like, it's great watching great football, but there is something missing.
I can't even tell you who played in the semi-finals last year. I know Penrith won the comp. That's it. Don't know anything else.
It is so true, though. So it's a great result, that. Really, really happy to hear that. So we'll be amongst that, and I cannot wait. Have Baller got any plans with that, Matt?
Mate, like we found out, same as everyone else. A Baller will 100% be having plans with that. We've got some cool new features dropping between now and the end of the season, so they'll be ready to go for finals as well. Just need the details off the great man Tommy Sangster, and we'll get it pumping. But we'll keep doing content and whatnot through the finals. Any speculation tubes on what it might be? We were tossing a few around today. We thought maybe unlimited trades and maybe no price changes, just everyone priced at 0 or $1 million. I don't know.
Well, they did. I remember doing Origin a while back, and that's pretty much what it was. It was unlimited trades. It wasn't priced at 0. I think there was still pricing,
still a cap.
and still a cap that you had to squeeze into, but it basically was unlimited trades, especially because teams will get knocked out. And then there's teams that go on the bye and miss games. So I think it'll be unlimited trades, and it'll be like pick your best 13 or something along those lines, within a cap. A reasonable cap would be my guess. But I mean, it's just disappointing, Matt, that you've dropped out of the top 10 and you've lost access to that sort of, what you had for that 1 week when you're up and about. The inner sanctum.
Give it a week or two, we'll be back.
Yeah, no. Look, I've got demons. I'm not going to lie. This trade that never was is haunting me. Jayden I should have got Jayden Campbell instead of Nathan Cleary. Anyway, that's haunting me at the moment. So I'm sure I'll get over that soon. I had a 13.59 on the weekend, so that was good enough to get me up 5 spots into 27th. So feeling pretty good about that. Back up on the rise. I'm only 300 off the lead. That's probably too far back though, isn't it?
It's a good captain choice. He'll be fine.
Couple of good captains. Keen to dig into these Hughes replacements because I think a lot are cornered. Most people are just going Hughes to Cleary. But let's get into that in a minute. All right, guys, Baller Blueprint to kick us off. Now, tonight's Baller Blueprint is how to be thinking about using your trades for the rest of the season. Should we burn through them now? Should we save them? I want a couple of pros and cons. And also, if we're thinking about head-to-head finals versus overall. Now, Chris, I know you are having a great crack at overall. You obviously finished top 100 last year, on track for another great finish this year, well entrenched in the top 1K. But I know you're an avid head-to-head player and you've got some pretty big leagues that you're focusing on. How many trades have you got left and how are you thinking about using them between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, look, I'm down to bare bones. I've only got 4 trades left, which doesn't feel like a great deal. So I have wrapped up the minor premiership in 2 of my cash head-to-head leagues. I'm feeling really good about that. So hoping not to trade this week because I can still field a decent 18 and then deal with any fires that will definitely come in the coming weeks. So, I'm probably pretty comfortable with my 18. It's obviously pretty dependent on where you're at. With Hughes, I can still comfortably, in my opinion, field a strong squad. So I'm happy to hold those 4, put out some fires in a couple of weeks and give me a better chance in those head-to-head games.
So your trades. So basically, what you're saying is the head-to-head. Now that you're in the finals there in minor premiership, that'll sort of shape. You'll put that over the top of kind of maximising your rank on overall.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that's important, Tubes, just to think about. So I'm in the opposite boat there. So I'm in some decent head-to-head cash leagues, but I'm sort of just letting that run its own course, and I still just want to make sure that I'm making optimal decisions to get me through to the end of the year to have the most amount of points that I can at the end. I've got 4 trades left also, Tubes. How would you be recommending to someone like me to be thinking about my trades, obviously knowing that I've got to trade Jahrome Hughes this week?
Look, I'm glad you asked, Matt. The people are getting a glimpse into the behind-the-scenes working as to how you've come in 27th overall, just where the main advice is coming from. Look, I think given you've got Hughes and anyone that has Hughes this week, what is he, like high 600, 700?
670 or something like that?
And so I think it's a very clear, if you have Hughes and you don't have Cleary, you got to go Hughes to Cleary. For someone like you that has Hughes and then has Cleary down in the flex, I still think you don't want to be wasting one of those premium positions of halfback and or sort of flex fullbacks. And so I think you want to be making a trade this week. But other than that, I really think that they've got to remember you only need a solid 18, a really good 18 over these next couple of weeks. And just trying to assess, is the matchup of the person that you're bringing in really going to be better than much significantly better than what you're moving out? Because cash isn't as big of a factor at this time of the year, whereas trades over those last few weeks could be imperative. Like, there is still 6 trading rounds left to go. So that is 12 trades if you don't have any boost, which, let's face it, most people don't. That's still 12 trades that can be made between now and then. The closer you can get over the next couple of rounds, if Chris has 4, if he can be down to sort of 8 trades left possible and still having 4, that'll give him the best position when some injuries and some more carnage and when you've got more information. So, like in my position, I know you guys own Scotty Drinkwater. I want to get Scott Drinkwater into my team. I could use 2 trades and get him this week, but the matchup against the Sharks doesn't feel that good. So I'm going to wait a week, see what plays out. It doesn't mean I'm definitely getting Drinky next week, but he's definitely on my trade plans for those good matchups still to come.
Yeah, that's a good point you make there as well, Tube. Like, sometimes it's worth getting a week's worth of information if the matchup doesn't quite suit what you need. Now, obviously that could cost you as well, but like, especially when you got to go out of your way to make 2 trades, doesn't really feel worth it. Chris, the only other thing I want to add here is just as a devil's advocate, I think Tubes' points are right, and the other thing I'll add to Tubes' points there is that also allows you to be much more prepared and ready when a great opportunity like a Nick Meaney or Dane Gagai moves to fullback. Who knows who that might be? It might be Cooler again, or Turbo might end back up at fullback. Who knows? And you've got the trades to take advantage of that if you've got enough sort of squad that you got 18 or 19 good players who can see you through. But what about the case to sort of maybe just keep one up the jumper and really get that really strong core 18 that can improve your team by sort of, maybe an extra 20 projected points each week, and then that can compound over the next 6 weeks, and you can just hope you get lucky with injuries and that you can keep your squad on the park.
Yeah, look, I think that's a fair point. However, I still lean the way of trades. I just think they're so valuable this time of year. I actually went back this morning and had a look where I was situated at the same time last year in terms of trade. I was out with a month to go, didn't have a trade left, and got very, very lucky. I was very lucky. The year before, same thing. I was out with 3 weeks to go. Absolute carnage.
Smashed.
What I would have done for 2 trades, even one, I couldn't tell you. If there was a SuperCoach Gold, you could have paid $1,000. I might have tried.
Well, that was the round
huge.
where people were fielding. Dan famously only had 8 players in round 27 in 2023.
Yeah. So back to your point.
I think we're going to get
trades.
I think we're going to get a bit of that in round 27 this year as well. We got the Raiders, who have a bye in 24. and then we'll probably have the minor premiership wrapped up by 26. Melbourne might have top 2 wrapped up, depending on how the Bulldogs get on. Penrith might have either 4th wrapped up or can't catch the Warriors in 4th. Cronulla, who knows? So I think this year is going to be more like 23 and less like last year, with maybe some teams set in stone for where they're going to finish, either in top 4 or 5th or 6th as well. Because I think Penrith and Sharks, I think, are going to finish 5th and 6th. That's kind of my read on that. They both got good draws. And so if they lock up home semis, they could both rest in 27 as well. Like, that'll be
Cows on the bye, which you at least know takes Drinkwater out of everyone's team. It's a...
And Dogs as well. There's a number of Dogs players who are now relevant as well. So there's so many teams that could be looking to rest in that last round.
Dogs could rest for sure, because if they're locked into 3rd and can't move,
or 2nd, they could
This is
so much going on.
Scaring me. So definitely want a couple of trades up your sleeve potentially for 27. If you're not going to, especially like guys like us. I got 3 nuffs. I know other people have got plenty of nuffs. I got Oren Keeley. He'll be ready to go around 27, won't he?
Well, I remember from that year 2 years ago. I think last year was the exception rather than the rule. That's my thinking on it. But 2 years ago, Matt, I'm pretty sure I was in the top 500 coming in the last round, and you were outside the top 1,000 or close enough. And you finished top 500, and I finished 1100th just because I had no trades left.
I went from 1900th to 300th.
Yeah,
roughly in the last round,
just by making the right 2 trades with a captain.
Well, I had Cooler, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I had and he went 182, and I looped him or something. So that's what I need this year. A bit more of that, but hopefully, with my squad staying on the field, need to not get impacted by these injuries. Obviously, So that's that, guys. We'll talk about more trades as we go on further here, but hopefully that's given everyone a bit of food for thought on how they should be approaching trades, because God knows I want to use 2 every week at the moment, but with only 4 in the kitty, it's going to be it's going to be tricky. But Hughes out this week for sure. Let's get on to Hughes, guys, to kick us off tonight. We'll obviously do our positional analysis, and we'll start with fullback, but it's worthwhile us talking about Jahrome Hughes because he's the main guy that everyone owned last week, selling this week. Now, Tubes, you guys spoke well on the snap on Sunday night about just do whatever you can to get Cleary in this week if you don't own. I think that's right. I don't know if I necessarily agree with making 2 trades to do it, but I can see the allure, and I'm struggling to think objectively about it. But I think that's pretty close to being bang on. In terms of other guys, you spoke before that it's important to have those really high upside halfback or fullbacks in your flex or in those positions. So we're talking about guys like Edwards, Walsh, Turbo, Paps, Hammer, and then at halfback, obviously Hines for those who don't own. Is there anyone else, before we go through those kind of options, that's piquing your interest as a Hughes replacement? Because obviously we can have them in the flex as well.
My mind was just, you started with Cleary. I was prepared to talk about Cleary, and then I wandered. So I just want to answer one thing. 100% you should use 2 trades to get Cleary from Hughes if you need to. We know he's goal kicking. He's the absolute best player in SuperCoach, and he's playing the Gold Coast Titans this weekend. If you have 2 trades and you need to make them to get Nathan Cleary in your side, you need to do it. That's it. There's no I think, I wonder, nothing like that. You have to do it.
Baller projection for the rest of the year, 90 points per game on average for Cleary, including a 98 this weekend. He will be the clear standout captain choice, obviously, this week.
Now,
just to the second part.
On to the second part of the question, I as I said, I was sort of tuning out a little bit, but I do think that if you already own Cleary, I assume you have him in the flex, and it's likely that you have Hines. There's then plenty of options that you can look at. I think that the best is most people should have Teddy and Drinky and Edwards. They're sort of the top 3 fullbacks. But there's a few pod options available. If you don't own Jayden Campbell, or Reece Walsh. I think that they're the next two rung. And I like the Jayden Campbell if you don't own him, because you've got that availability to then move him down to 5'8", and then bring in another one of those guns next week, like a Drinkwater if you didn't own. It's all a mix and match. I think you want to try and work out how to get those different guys. Edwards is probably too far gone if you don't own him, being at 800k. So I'd probably rank it, and then most people own Teddy, so I'd probably rank it Drinky, Jayden Campbell, and Reece Walsh, in no particular exact order, but I think they're three of the big ones.
I like Walsh a lot. I'm considering him. I'm with YouTube's Edwards. I'm cold on, just at the price, 842k, not goal kicking anymore. I can't do that in one move either. I wouldn't be using two trades to bring Dylan Edwards in for Jahrome Hughes, that's for sure. If I could do it in one move, I may consider it, but I'm kind of just hoping we can get Edwards low. We've just got to get through this Gold Coast game. It's going to be a tough one. Chris, someone I'm super keen on, and I feel like he looks better, is Turbo. Now, he's got a BE of 80, projection of 72. I will say the model gets a bit confused with Turbo playing in the centres. It doesn't treat him like Turbo. It treats him like any other centre. But 13.4% owned in the top 10%. I think he's an excellent pod option at only 676k. Are you liking what you're seeing from Turbo?
Yeah, I certainly have been. The last few weeks, I've been very impressed. And on the weekend, I think as soon as Hughes went down, I think my mind went straight to Turbo, just straight into the flex for me. Obviously, my mind has changed more due to my trades rather than Turbo's output. They got absolutely flogged on the weekend, and he got nearly 80, set up a try. He just looks good again. Like, he looks like Turbo. And if he can go on a tear for the back end of the year, not only will he be unreal to own because it's just so much fun watching him go, but he will score many a point, and he'll be in my side at some point for the run home, 100%.
Yeah. They got a great run. Canberra, Tigers, Finns, Dragons, and Warriors to end the year. Canberra's obviously tough next week, but Tubes, he's gone 123, 74, 76. And those last two games were obviously one in Melbourne where they won, but only scored 18 points, and then they got smashed on the weekend. I feel like he's a little bit slept on, Turbo.
Look, he is. I think he's a perfect one for my example before, that he's not worth the trade for me this week. Like, I don't think he's a huge upgrade for what other people's 18s or 19s already look like, 17s and 18s already look like. I do think they've got a fantastic run that starts in 2 weeks' time. And I just don't see the need to really have to jump early on him. I think he needs to be in everyone's plans, and there's a chance that he also goes back to fullback over the next couple of weeks. And
I think they've said they're going to keep Lehigh there for the season.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't mind him as an option, but I don't know. Is it worth a trade this week? Is he really going to have that complete upside against the good teams? Like, against the bad teams, I think he will.
The last 2 weeks, he's played Melbourne and Canterbury, who are probably two of the best defensive teams in the comp, and he's punched out 70s. This week, he's at home against the Roosters, who leaked a lot of points. I think his draw is completely fine. I think you can go him now. No worries.
Yep. I'm still likely to go him, and I'll be VCing him because I still think he has that ceiling, even playing at centre. If we see him sweeping out back to Brookie this week, just inject him, just sweeping round to the left and feeding Rubes. That's going to be, I'm hoping that's a fun watch. There is a little bit of weather around this week, but still, I've got to decide, Tubes, as I mentioned, it's between Turbo and Reece Walsh. I think those two are the clear guys with the ceilings. Obviously, Paps as well. But what do you think about Reece Walsh? I know you're a huge fan.
Love the matchup this week.
Delightful.
Like, I can't see the Rabbits were up for that game on the weekend. They got everything in their favour, as I talked about on the snap, with the sort of slow ruck speed. And this is a different beast on Friday night, and especially the Broncos coming off a loss. I could see them put a big number on the Bunnies this week. Additional injuries. I don't know if we've heard the Whiten news on suspension yet.
4 weeks. He got done for 4 weeks.
like, do I like Reece Walsh over Turbo? Like this week, he could be putting on 150 to it just feels like a great week to own him. So that to me does feel like the worth of the trade this week for sure.
Yeah, and Bronx have got a good run in. Even though they've got Storm next week, which is obviously really hard at Amy Park. Storm have leaked a few points though this year, so you never know. Then they've got Finns, Knights, Cows, 3 great fixtures into Storm in the last round at home. But as we said, Storm could easily rest there, just depending on their circumstances. If they've got something to play for,
and Bronx might need to win.
Bronx will. There's no way Bronx won't need to win. Like they'll have to. They'll have to be winning. So you'd expect another good showing from Walsh there. I think he's a great option. Chris, Ryan Papenhuyzen returns for the Melbourne Storm, pushing Nick Meaney, my boy, back to the centres. Unfortunately, it's RIP Meaney. But what about Ryan Papenhuyzen? He's down to 10% ownership. Those who have held strong. Finally, something to cheer about this week. There's got to be a bit of concern. So, A, does he get the goal kicking back, and B, how likely is that calf to go again?
Yeah, and we've seen him named before and not play as well. Like, there's just so much doubt around it. So I think this is one where you can comfortably just have a look for a week. Like, if you're really keen on Paps, you get more information on Friday night. I know it's a good matchup, so that's a worry as well because they got Para. But Para have shown in the last month they're not giving up. So I think it's an easy watch and see with Pap. Just see how the calf comes out. See if he's goal kicking. I can't see him goal kicking. Like, Meaney's been striking him well. He's got a lower leg injury, so I'm happy to sit and watch that one.
You're right there, Tubes. Just so you just nod off there quickly.
I'm good. It was a good chat.
Bit monotone. Sorry.
I think if you like Paps, you go him straight away. I know, like maybe if he doesn't kick, I can see that. But they're the first game of the round, so we should get a bit of info if he's kicking or not. I just think, like, if he's playing, he's right. We know he's got that upside. No Jahrome Hughes. Does that help or hinder? I would probably lean help. He should get more red zone ball. I just think these are great opportunities to get ahead of the crowd. No one will be buying him. And what if he pumps out 150?
Which he did round 1 against the Eels.
Exactly. You were one of those ones who jumped on at very low ownership in round 1.
Loves a day game though, Paps. Day game at home, that was. This is a Thursday night, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's,
at Para.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like a week to jump on Pappy. I don't hope he goes well, but for those that held him, they'll be getting a big cheer. Are you going to play Meaney, Matt? Surely. He'll be kicking, surely.
If he's kicking, I'll consider it. But even then, he's got a baller projection of 53, I think. So with the kicking, that'll go to about 66. Like, that's the same as Marky Mark. I'd prefer to take Marky Mark on a flyer. Meaney doesn't have 120 in him in the centres, in my opinion.
No, I guess not. Even against the Eels.
A shout.
Yeah. So I'll be sitting Meaney if he's in the centres. I actually want to trade Meaney to Dane Gagai next week, potentially. Speaking of burning through trades, I think that's a good one for the run home for Meaney owners. Hammer, Chris, Pod, 744k. He has been on fire. The Finns have been on fire. That is super Pod. He's expensive, but you're never going to see that money again anyway. So is he worth a shot?
Look, very, very Pod. If you're in a position where you do need to make up some numbers on the crowd, yes, I can understand going there. It's a lot when you've got, in my opinion, 3 better options that are cheaper. I think the 3 aforementioned are all better options than Hammer, but they are flying. He is on fire. They've had a rest. They've got to go to New Zealand, which usually aren't huge scoring games for SuperCoach. Is it the Podfather who doesn't like playing the SuperCoach players?
He doesn't like the New Zealand. They are a bit depleted, and Jayden Campbell made a bit of a mess of that.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Actually, yeah. JC went berserk.
I think the Warriors are shot. I think the Warriors are shot. Like, they should have got beat by Newcastle the week before. Like, they got outplayed, and then obviously Halasima Magic on the bell. Then they got pumped by the Titans. The Titans killed them. Like, that could have been more. I didn't.
Big
I
outs
like
this
what
week
I'm seeing, and some huge outs. CHT, JFH, and someone else. So the hooker, Wade Egan.
Yeah.
So plenty out. Hammer's rocking a 5-round average of 92. He's the leading try scorer in the comp We've already seen what the Finns like to do for their leading try scorers, trying to get those guys over the line. Cody Nicol, whole way to the in goal for him, just like he did for Herbie. So, yeah, we shall see. I don't mind Hammer as a pod. I can't afford him, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Turbo and Walsh are probably slightly ahead for me at the moment. But no,
I wish you could afford Hammer so we could all see that there's no chance you get him. Come on.
Look,
what are you talking about? Hammer. Surely not. Like, I love a pod. I love a pod.
I nearly made.
I don't want a pod that has to score 3 tries every week to get 90. Like that.
Yeah, he does like 3 tries. Fortunately for those who are going to pick him up. All right, guys, let's get on now to the centre wing. And there's a little bit doing at centre wing this week. We see the return of Jethro Rinakama. He comes in on the wing for Jacob Kiraz, who shifts to fullback after Connor Tracy was ruled out for up to a month, I believe, with abdominal injury. Kiraz, Tubes, what's your gut reaction on his output at fullback?
It's hard to see his base going up because his base is just so unbelievable, like, anyway. But I can't see it being the worst from a base plus power just with the amount of touches and involvements that he's going to get. So I don't know, but that'll be cancelled out by, I'd say, he's in for less tries. So it'll be interesting to see. Like, I think he's a good player. He could adapt well. And the Dogs really need to find that fullback. I think that they might give him a week or two and see, and he could easily fire. But I wouldn't be jumping to buy him if I didn't own him because he's at fullback already. But I'm certainly not worried as an owner.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. Tries come down, but I'm not worried about his base power at all. He'll still have 20 runs, and he'll have 5 offloads and 6 tackle busts. So, yeah, I think he's still, and he could jag some try assists. They got a great matchup. I think he'll do fantastic at fullback. Jethro Rinakama, Chris, basement bottom dollar price, -60 break even. Is he someone who can slot into your team that you don't have to play if you don't want to? You can just kind of keep him there. I mean, the -60 break even is kind of irrelevant because you're never going to trade him out. But the main point there is you've got a playable option at under 200k.
Yeah, I think for a playable option, they've got a really good run home. A couple of tricky games, but their run's pretty good. He's going to be on the end of one of the best teams in the comp as well. At that price this time of year, someone who's going to be playing every week, and he's not going to be an AE problem, I don't think. Look, not for me, but yeah, could definitely, if you're going to make 2 trades to get a gun and you've got to bring him in, that's not a huge problem. So I'm okay with it in that situation.
Baller projection of 64 as well, which is obviously quite good for a rookie. That just shows their matchup there. He's obviously outside, on the left side, outside Matty Burton and Kikau as well, who are doing good things. And even Bronson Sherry, Tubes' boy, doing very good things on that left side. He's got a broken nose, but should be right to play according to the Fizz. Tubes, a little old. Who would you rather here? Now, you spoke about both these guys on the snap, but just for those who haven't heard, Ronnie Mulitalo, 91 on the weekend, last week's pot of the week. 456k now, break even at 10. Brian To'o just can't get any ball on that right-hand side. 515k, that is a steal. Who would you rather out of those two?
I know you are one. I'm feeling burned by To'o. I bought him in 2 weeks ago. I was considering Gagai versus him all week and
itchy fingers.
Penrith played first, so I went To'o. Basically, that's sort of the way I've been playing. Unfortunately, the right side attack for Penrith, it really doesn't look great. They really feel left dominant, and I think that's just the way that their structure's working out at the moment, but that doesn't mean that it can't switch back. He ended up updating to 49, and that was just in complete base. He's been carrying these niggling injuries, but he's being picked every week. I think that he's playing back into full fitness. I wouldn't be shocked if it came this week against the Titans, but I couldn't be buying him based off what I've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. If I put that up against Ronnie, I don't want him either. Like, I no offense to Christopher, he can probably answer this better than me, but I think your season went off the rails when you considered bringing in Ronnie Mulitalo.
He didn't consider it.
I brought him in.
It went off the rails when he considered it, and then he followed through.
Yeah.
I only think lower than Chris's break even was his rank after him.
I just like Ronnie's a no-go for me. He's too volatile. I know he can have runs. I don't feel still fantastic about the Sharks. I think last week they went more left because it was a bit of that slower play the ball. Nikora was out. So they didn't go right as much. Nikora's back this week. And I just think Ronnie's not an option. And I really too big of a pod flyer for me at this time of the year.
Yeah. The reason why those two are so important to speak about, Chris, is because Josiah Karapani, who I should have mentioned earlier, has been dropped. Now he's 62% owned in the top 10%, which is a
Stop
shocker.
smiling.
Yeah, I was happier. I was willing to cop Nick Meaney moving from fullback just to see Karapani not in the team. They are playing the Bunnies minus 16.5. He was going to feast on that left wing. We saw Ronnie get over for a try last week. Yeah, what do you do? Do you think about maybe going to one of those options like when we're so light on trades, or maybe do you think, okay, just let me try and cover him with my other centre wings this week and my squad depth, and then let's see what prevails next week? Or would you be pushing hard? Is centre wing too important, basically, that you need someone who with that bit of upside?
Yeah, look, it's a really tough question. I'm in that position. I was looking at Karapani even seriously as a potential VC this week. I thought, seriously, he could go berserk against the Bunnies, but not there. It's a really, really difficult question there. I couldn't go Ronnie, obviously, but there's a world where I think Brian Toto does come back to form, and if you've got the cash to make a straight swap there in what I think is going to be one of the better teams for the run home, with Nathan Cleary there now looking back to full fitness, I know what we've seen from Brian hasn't been great, but as Tubes just mentioned, went to 49, which was all in base. He's going to get attacking stats in the next few weeks. That's a trade that I'd be willing to make. And then just boosts your centre wingers. I can see Brian going off. Look, everyone's going to have Herbie, Ruben, all those absolute guns. So it's that sort of next echelon down that you're looking at, and I think Brian Toto's the one there.
Yeah, it's really hard. I think at centre, I'd be doing everything I could not to trade there this week. I think unless I didn't own Lomax, Kiraz, or those types, I probably would, if I had the cash, go Karapani to one of those guys. But I think with guys like Karapani, Nick Meaney, who I own, I think this isn't the week to trade them out. I would rather sit for a week. Is it worth the trade next week? Can you cover them now? None of these guys are must sells this time of year. You can keep them there, just sit them on your as your seventh or sixth or seventh centre wing. Meaney might get Paps injured again, then he might be back to fullback. Karapani, Cobb, same thing. He might be straight back in. Who knows? So
I think probably a fair one, Matt, would be like a Billy Smith. Billy Smith will come back into a lot of 18s this week due to Karapani. How would you feel about playing Billy Smith in your 18?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be running Billy Smith out.
So you're making the trade?
Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah.
I probably would. What about you? Would you want to run Billy?
Well, I've got that predicament.
You have to run him out.
Nah. Look, I don't know. I really don't. So I'll give it some more thought. But, I am a bit nervous about Billy Smith.
I think that just comes back to how many trades you've got. If you've got 4 or less, then, I think you just have to go with Billy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But if you've got 5 or 6, then, maybe or more, maybe you can afford to pull the trigger on that one and get in a season-long keeper at centre wing, depending on just seeing at the price point. It's a shame Gagai's not playing this week. I think he'd be the perfect upgrade. Down to 5'8" now. Not much to talk about at 5'8". Jayden Campbell, we spoke about. Great option to bring in either at 5'8" or in the flex. Tubes, a question that I have with JC, with that matchup against Penrith, could you sit him this week if you've got a strong 18 or 19.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to have a pretty strong 18 or 19, but you could definitely sit him. I don't know what's his baller projection looking
69.
like. I think he does just get so many touches, and still has that attacking upside, and with the kicking, like his floor is just never going to be that low. You would think, even though they are playing Penrith.
I'd never, ever, ever sit Jayden Campbell.
Yeah,
never. He can do it any week. We saw it last week. Like I think so few people thought about satting him against the Wars last week, and we showed he got 115. He does have it. Like his floors with the goal kicking and the amount of times he runs it. I think his floor is probably 40 tubes, give or take, just depending. So you can cop that. It's not like Marky Mark high 20s sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm always, because he can put that 100 on in any given week. I'm not sitting Jayden Campbell. Down to halfback now. Tommy Dearden, Christopher, 168 of the very best on the weekend. Well done. That's the second time this year that he's bust out one of these, and Pod Hunters have got the job done for Pod Hunters. He's 655k. Ball projection of only 61. Would not be shocked to see him come out and rock a 50 this week.
Yeah, I think that's probably on the cards. He's done that a couple of times over the years. Tommy Dearden comes out with just this huge game, and then you think, he could be relevant. But I'm not making that trade at halfback. Not with the Hines, Cleary, and then the options and the fullbacks in the flex. I couldn't be going anywhere near Tom Dearden.
Yep, I agree. Tube, someone I know you're keen on, although I don't know if you're going to trigger it. Tyran Wishart, 316k. He probably doesn't have the pedigree or probably the ongoing consistency that we would expect out of these other options, but he's cheap, and if that fills a trade plan for you to let you get a nice upgrade somewhere else, probably not the worst option. Ball projection of 59. I know you're keen.
I'm just keen for that exact reason of if he allows you to upgrade elsewhere. So I know I talked about saving trades. If I was making 2 trades this week, I'd be looking to downgrade to Wishy and then upgrade to Drinky. I think that he's relevant. I sort of went back. Jono brought him up on the snap, and I probably rubbished the call a little bit, but then I went back and had a little bit more of a look into it. It's not that he just loves running it. He actually, playing with Munster's never the dominant half. Like, he's never the one that gets the most touches. Like, he will sort of step into the role a bit, but I think Wishy will still get more touches at half. He loves running it himself. And, the Storm just are the Storm. So he's in for decent scores that he might be playable in some weeks, particularly this week against Para. He's 300k. So he's a great downgrade option to sort of fill out your sort of 20 to 21 squad. If Melbourne rests, they will not be resting him in the last round of the season, and he'll be a great option, could even be goal kicking. So I like him if you've still got LKT, or if you're looking at downgrading, Hughes to him and sort of keeping that flex option available, because he is dual half 5'8". You could then downgrade Hughes, trade out a 5'8" next week, and bring Cleary down from the flex and bring someone in the flex next week with the cash. Like, he opens up a lot of doors.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not a bad little option for those in the market. All right, guys.
But you don't have to do this week. Sorry, just on that. So that's where I landed. After all that analysis, it's not like he's going up a huge amount this week. So all of that will still be true next week as well.
I liked your point around him playing halfback. So just looking at his last 3 scores when he started in the 6 jersey, which is around 18, 19 and 21. He scored in the 40s for all of those games, but that was with Hughes as the dominant half. So I think that'll be a lot more shared between him and Munster this week. So, yeah, it's a flyer, and it might not come off, but I think it's he should have that floor in the 40s with the amount of base that he gets through. All right, guys, down to the 2RF now, and not a ton of options, but a lot doing. Few $1 Kawatu had held him through. I feel bad for you guys. Pretty disgusting to hold for that long and then him go with only a 24. But there are some good options.
Shout out Max Plath earlier in the year.
Yeah, Maxi Plath, one of the Tubes holds. Hudson Young, Tubes. Me and you have been owners for 2 weeks. It's been a pleasure. He got a down date on the weekend, which is a bit annoying, but he just looks the nuts at 2RF, 686k. Buy in round 24 and a possible rest in round 27. The red flags that I've got. I know I spoke about Hudson red flags a few weeks ago before I bought him in, but how do you feel about those potential? I think if it wasn't for those, everyone would be getting him, but there's just a little in the back of my mind that's a risk.
Yeah, and he's definitely the best of a bad lot, it feels now, in the second row forward, but he's also priced at that 686k, whereas there's a few others sub 600 that you can look at getting. I think, it's similar to anything, if you can afford it without it costing you in your second trade, like getting Cleary, etc., then I think he's the number one option, and you just get him in and you ignore those other red flags.
Chris, I own Tarpany and Starling and Young, so I'm going to be a little bit short in 24. If you had a couple of Raiders on your roster, would that put you off? And would you be thinking about another guy with a buy, Briton Nikora, who's 600k or just under? He has a buy in 25, but I don't think anyone has anywhere near the exposure on the Sharks.
It's a good question. I would feel I'd be very, very worried about the amount of Raiders I had, given they've got a bye to come and the likelihood of them having the minor premiership wrapped up as well. So not only could there be a bye in there could be a resting, particularly for a Joey Taps and Hudson Young, because he has been carrying an injury. Briton Nikora, look, he's shown time and time again that he's an absolute quality SuperCoach player in that second row. He's got attacking flair. They've got a wonderful draw. Look, yes, in a word, I think I would be moving one of those boys, probably Taps, if you can make it work with your jewels, onto a Briton Nikora in a heartbeat, to be honest.
I quite like the Joey Tarpany sell, and I own both Tarpany and Starlo, like I said, even though we're a little bit early here on the front row chat. I just don't mind selling Tarpany given he's 550k, and I'm never going to want to play him. Just with he's only getting 50 minutes at the moment.
Minutes are an issue.
I just don't think Ricky's going to up that in the foreseeable, especially while they're winning, like during the game. Jono said he was icing the knee at some point. I just don't like it at all. I wouldn't mind getting rid of him for that 24 buy and a 27 rest. So I think he's a good trade out via Jules to pick up one of these second rowers Tubes. And the guy who if I would be looking at, and that's the trade I want to make if I had one or two more trades, would be Tarpany to Isaah Yeo. 545k, break even at 56. So he's still not out of reach even next week. I heard you and Jono speak about his minutes coming down to 70 on the weekend. I'm not too concerned, but it's just so free at that price.
Yeah, I mean, he's still an option. I do think the minutes are a concern. He played 70 on the weekend. He had a try assist, line break assist, and ended up with low 80s. He's not having that every week. He's a base man that if he plays 80, you're sort of banking him for those high 60s, low 70s. Penrith are stacked. Like, they've got Papali'i, Garner, Sorensen back. I know Yo's their best player, don't get me wrong. And I know important. He was just rested last week. But I still think that there's a world where he just gets lower minutes because they can afford to carry it. And I know it wasn't a take him off at the end of the game resting. It was a planned resting. He missed 10 minutes last week. And I just think Penrith are back, that there's also a chance that they will look at resting his minutes. This is the first year Papali'i's been back in the side. As well as obviously what I said, those other players there. So it's enough of a concern that I don't love him as a purchase.
Having listened to the snap, that actually just got me over the line on, is that a trade I actually really need to make this week? Because it means that I'll be sitting someone who, maybe I wouldn't love to play, like a Marky Mark or a Connor Watson or something, but they're going to have to play now. But is it really worth trading Tarpany to Yo when I don't know exactly what I'm going to get on the minutes for an extra maybe expected 10 points this week, where I can maybe save that trade and make it more useful down the line? So That's what got me over the line there.
I'd feel more comfortable. Well, I own Yo, and I'm going to feel more comfortable in those 3 tougher fixtures following. I'm more confident that he'll stay on the field for the longer minutes in those bigger games. This week, again, against the Gold Coast, they could have that under control, and Lindsay Smith was on a heater on the weekend, so easy, just give him a rest. But those 3 big games that are coming up for the Panthers, I think he'll be a really handy player through that period.
It's interesting you say that, Chris. So quantifying that out on the baller projections, we've got the Titans this week and the Knights next week. So we've got Yo in at 80 minutes still. We'll give that another week just because that's where he's been consistently at this season. But if Tubes is right, we'll bring that back down to 70. But he's in to score 76 this week, 75 next week. And then in those harder matchups, we see his projection come down to around 72, 73. So you're right. Like, there's not a lot in it for someone like Yo. He just gets a little bit more up on the try expectations. But yeah, so not a lot in it. He's pretty matchup proof is the point there. Yeah, so Tubes, last couple I want to talk about, and they're both your boys at 2RF. Viliame Kikau, 574k, Leka Halasima, 569k. You have owned both these guys at one point or another this season. You still own Kikau, correct?
Still own Kikau.
Yeah. If you were shopping for these two on the weekend, right now this weekend, Leka's the new party boy on the scene. Not sure though that I'd be going him over Kicks. I'm so scared of Kicks.
I don't think you can go Leka. I love him. I owned him until round 18, and just before that he'd been dropped to the bench. They've just got so many good young guns, the Warriors, coming through. Obviously, there's some injuries at the moment. Capewell's out in the centres. That could easily change over the next 3 to 4 weeks. But Leka does look great and is just so fun to watch and so fun to own. But I couldn't be bringing him in now at that price after averaging 81 over the last 3 weeks. Billy Kicks he's probably my number one option if you don't own and you're looking to buy in the second row forward.
Really?
I really like that shape that they had going back on the weekend. I think that there was a run there of 4 or 5 weeks where Sherry was playing on the right and people didn't understand how big that was for Kikau because the line Sherry runs and Kikau sweeps out the back, and then Briton is just like, it's just gold for SuperCoach for that play. And they didn't have that with Sherry not playing in the centres on the left-hand side when he was over across on the right. Obviously, spoke about on the snap, Galvin in the halves, their middle and the way they can sweep side to side. We saw it on the weekend. It's not really a left or right side dominant attack. And Kikau's base plus power, he's one of those guys that he works hard, he chases down the kicks, but when those attacking stats come, he's got a bit about him. Like, he gets up and about, the golden locks get a little golder, and he just sort of like seems to lift, and I just see that Sherry outside him now. It's bringing him back to what we were seeing over that run earlier in the season.
What do you think?
Are we worried with Kiraz moving to fullback and it not being Tracy and Kiraz not being a noted ball player, that left edge might lose a bit of its punch?
Opposite, Chris.
Yep.
Tracy, if you watch them, never goes left. He's a right side only, basically, fullback. So their sweeping plays to the right is where Tracy actually gets involved. When they go left, it's always Man, Hayward, Salmon, and then it goes out the back to Briton, and then it goes out the back to Kikau off Cherry running. The fullback is not involved at all. If anything, it could mean they go more left.
You are on fire, Tubes.
Tracy not in the game.
Just call it SJ.
Unbelievable at the moment.
I've been watching the Bulldogs pretty closely
I can tell.
But yeah, that is definitely what it's been.
Very, very, very good Tubes. What about given you watch so much Dogs, what about, he's not on the run sheet, but what about Jacob Preston? Baller projection of 70 this week, which is 5 more than Kikau. He's been a little bit down, it seems, with his scores recently, but he looked back to his best on the weekend with a very good base plus power output.
40-something tackles. Like, they're targeting Galvin. He's their defensive.
He's the
hitman.
Tony Carroll
yeah.
To Darren Lockyer.
So he's sort of covering that, and he's getting through a mountain of work. I do think that the ball is Galvin with his sort of ad hoc play. I think Preston is a noted attacking try scorer, and he will score more tries as it goes on. Pretty much did it all in base on the weekend for his 66. I own both, and I wouldn't be afraid to own both if I didn't already.
Down to front row forward now, or up to front row forward, whichever way you're looking at. Not a lot doing. We spoke about the possibility of selling Joey Tapani. Very much team dependent. He's an easy hold. He's not going to be an AE problem, but if you can upgrade your squad, I'm not feeling super comfortable about ever having to play Taps. Tubes, AFB is the other one. Like, he doesn't look right. Like, I wouldn't be feeling super confident about rolling AFB out in my 18 at the moment either with whatever he's carrying. You mentioned he was up the tunnel on the weekend.
Yeah, it was up the tunnel and just didn't look right. Feels just like a complete... We've talked about trades and saving them. Like, you got May and Haas. I know that May has a buy still to come, but... figure that out that week, that it might just be a free loop.
Or just take the 50.
Or Tino could be back by then for those that are holding. Just, yeah.
Take the 50.
Don't trade in a front row forward anymore.
Well, I mean, it's via Jules, though, is it? Like, because this is my problem. Like, I've got Connor Watson as my third 2RF now, and I don't feel great about that. I need Tino to come back, but I also am like, okay, it's not worth a trade. He hopefully can do a job. He's back to hooker this week, hopefully 80 minutes. He had to go to 5'8" last week. He still punched out 55. I'll take that if Connor's playing 5'8", because I'll never go to him. So, yeah, hopefully he's back on a good score this week. Good matchup against Manly, and we'll see how that goes. Chris, Paddy Carrigan, just quickly, 576K dual. Is he an option against any of those other guys? I think you're going to get value at the price, but I'm not sure he can match the upside of those other guys.
Yeah, I just think I think you touched on it straight away. You're just making trades in other positions at this time of year. I've got Pat, and I'm fine with that. He'll probably average 65 to 70 for the run home, which is fine. But yeah, I wouldn't be wasting a trade on Paddy Carrigan.
Down to hooker tubes. I bought in Blake Brayley last week just to tick over 700k. He got 63 with a meat pie. Obviously, you guys spoke at length about that game being a bit funny, and both Hines and Brayley not getting a lot of time to run the ball. No issues there. He's not really. You wouldn't be buying him though. What's the analogy I'm looking here? That ship has sailed.
Yeah. I think Brayley's done. I think there's one clear hooker standout now, and that's my boy Harry Grant. I don't think the ship has sailed on him. 572k. Spoke about it a bit on the snap, but effectively his last two seasons, he's turned up multiple times from round 22 onwards. Round 22 in 2023 had 149. Round 22 in 2024, he went 119. This is where he really starts kicking into gear. At 572k, he's an absolute steal. I think if people are in a position where they have Watson not in second row, unlike you, that would be an option to bring Watson down and look at bringing in a Harry Grant this week for sure.
I just feel like I've just made such a mess of hooker. I really need Blake Brayley to kick on. Harry, yeah, fantastic option. I won't be shopping for another hooker. I've had enough of it. I'm just right out with Brayley and Starling, and I've got Watson there if desperate. But yeah.
Interesting though, Garlic on the bench and Pezzett. I don't know if it's enough to scare off owners because Garlic has been playing through the middle and it's quite a light bench. I can't see them really resting Harry for any extended period
unless they're
of time.
up. Sometimes I'll give him a spell at the end, like with
the last 10 minutes.
And usually he's done something in the game if they're up at that point in time.
All right, guys, pod of the week time. And let's start with YouTubes because this is someone you've already mentioned on a podcast this week as you're ready to explode.
Yeah.
Doubling down.
Just didn't want to do the prep. I think we talked about the options in the flex or for moving Cleary out or fullback options, and we didn't really give him much of a push at the time, and that's Chance Nickel Clockstad. I know you said you think the Warriors could be done. But I think that Tanner Boyd in the halves, a bit more structure. We saw Chance get 61 on the weekend. We know he's got such a good base because he's got such a good work rate. I think it's good for his attacking possibilities with those sweeping runs out the back and going out to the right and to the left. They've got the Dolphins this week, so if you need a trade there and you're looking for a pod option, I really do actually like him. I'm actually potentially eyeing him off from round 24 onwards. They play Dragons, Titans, Eels, Manly to finish off the year. And I just think that he could be one of those people that with that good run, he's got a good base, and if they just start attacking and sort of clicking, that he could be one to take on the big guys.
Yeah, he'd be the perfect sort of chess puzzle piece as a pod if you like had the right amount of cash and you had to move someone on. He could definitely go off. He's got a good floor. Bit of a sick note though, like injuries and head knocks scares me a bit with Chance. But yeah, definitely a good pod option.
Price is right. What is he?
524.
500. Yeah, 524.
Yep. Chris, you've gone a bit further afield here. We'll say right field, given he's a right winger.
Yeah, right winger. Look, no one owns him. He's had at times he's had little runs where he's I wouldn't say relevant, but if you owned him for that month or so, it would have been a really, really good month. Siona Katoa, the winger for the Sharks. We've spoken about the Sharks draw. No one owns him. No one owns him. I've got Karapani. Maybe I'm looking to move to Katoa. With their draw, it's not a bad option.
We need a little Gramsy for the postseason awards this year. We need to go back and check all the pods of the year and see who had the worst month after they were made a pod of the year. Now, I'm not knocking this, Chris, but Sione Katoa could have a bad month. But I like the draw.
Gramsy, cut this up because it's going to come back the other way when he turns up.
Okay, he's more expensive than Ronnie. Yeah, look, it's not beyond the realms.
I was scraping the barrel.
It's not beyond the realms that he could outlast Ronaldo Mulitalo. My pod of the week, fellas, is Stephen Crichton, 591k, goal-kicking centre wing. Not really making a trade at centre wing this week would be my only issue. In saying that, if you were to bring him in the flex, or if you did want to desperate to get rid of Karapani, ceiling's always the issue with Crichton. He'll get it done in the 50s, 60s, 70s, no worries, especially with the goal kicking. But that really lifts his floor. If they can go a bit more right, which according to Tubes' Bulldogs analysis, they might not do, he's there. But yeah, just is a bit of a fly with the goal kicking if the Bulldogs can get really hot, like they played on the weekend. That's one of the performances of the year against Manly. If they can stay that hot, no reason why Crichton can't average really well on the run home. He's 0.4% owned in the top 10%.
Surely, I now see why we didn't talk about him in the centre wing. Surely the big play there is, could be a very late change. Tuala to centre, Kiraz wing.
No, Kiraz fullback apparently. They've said it,
Yeah, okay.
Bulldogs never lied.
Bulldogs mail is Bulldogs. Our Bulldogs mail. We don't get much right on this show, but we get the Bulldogs mail right.
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, but I suppose the only thing is,
Imagine we get fullback critter. Imagine we did get fullback critter.
That's what I mean. He's just away from it. I'd love to.
Would you get him if he moved to fullback this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or imagine he would be one. We talked about it earlier. That if there was another injury or a couple of injuries and you had the trades for the last 3 weeks and you just got Critter at fullback for the last 3 weeks of the year, would just be so
for
good.
The Thursday Q&A for the Thursday Q&A Tubes, can you submit a question? What would Crichton be projected at fullback, please? And I'll answer it.
Sure. Sounds good.
Boys, speaking of Thursday Q&A, we're going to have all the sit starts. We're going to have all the captains' chats. Please get along to ball.live and sign up to make sure you're making use of the projections. They will sort your sit starts out. They will sort your captaincy decisions out. So much great content on the site with our player stats table. You can check the run home challenge, and you can obviously go in and get all the live up-to-date scores as well. We got plenty more coming as the season goes on. So yeah, looking forward to Thursday. Might see one or two of you for Thursday night watch along as well, boys. We'll work that out later in the week. And yeah, looking forward.
If I bring in Wishy, then a big chance of coming.
Yeah,
on.
I like that. I like that. And we're looking forward to like I said, we've got some big watch-alongs coming. We might even do a marathon watch-along later. There's like, what was it, Tubes? Round 25? And it's like
that Friday
Penrith,
night.
Canberra, and then Melbourne Dogs back-to-back. That's a ripping night of footy.
Huge.
I think we've got to get around that with a watch-along. Anyway, boys, been an absolute pleasure to see both of you. Christopher, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Matt. It was really good fun. I came in thinking I'm not making any trades, and we talked up a few, and now I wish I had some more.
No, very, very good energy from you, Christopher. You really set yourself, so well done. And Tubes, I'll let you see us out tonight. Thank you all the listeners for tuning in, the viewers on YouTube, and we'll catch you later in the week.
You beauty.